Tablets 4 to 5. The Road to the Cedar Forest. They had walked 40 leagues before they paused to break their fast. A morsel, no more. At 60 leagues they rested, and Gilgamesh dug a hollow in the sun-warmed earth, pouring his meal offering before the mountain. Mountain, grant me a dream. Breathe on him something true. The mountain heard. A chill gust moved across the hollow, and Gilgamesh, crouching with his knees drawn up, felt sleep pour over him like dark water. He woke at midnight. He turned to Enkidu. "Did you call me? Why am I awake? Did something pass over me, or why does my flesh still tremble?" 5 times the dream came on the journey, and 5 times Gilgamesh woke, shaking. He told the first to Enkidu in the darkness. We were standing high on the peak of a mountain, and the mountain lurched and fell away beneath us, leaving us alone, borne into the desert. Enkidu heard him out and spoke. "It is a good dream. The mountain you saw is Humbaba. We will throw him down. We will leave his body in the dust. Tomorrow will make its meaning clear." The second dream came rougher. I was woken, but I could not see by what. Something touched me, and I could not name it. And the third? The sky roared, and the earth echoed it. The day turned black, lightning struck, flames rose, filled with something like plague. Then the glare faded, the fire faded, everything fell to ash. He paused. "Come, let us go down together to the desert, and counsel there." Enkidu listened and answered, and each time he told Gilgamesh that the vision, however terrifying, pointed forward, toward the thing they had come to do. The fourth came at the last camp before the forest. There was a wild bull in the plain. Its bellow was the bellow of thunder. Dust rose in columns from its hooves. I came near, and it charged, and its horns took me down. But when I had fallen, it did not trample me. It set its mouth against my shoulder and gave me water. And the strength, which had left me when I struck the ground, came back. Enkidu answered without hesitation, "The bull you saw is not our enemy. In the form of a wild bull, the god Shamash watches over us. The water from his mouth, that is his promise. We are not alone on this road." And the fifth dream, the last before the forest, the sky split open. From within it descended a figure, young, radiant, the wings of an eagle spread behind him. He came to where I lay, lifted me, and set me on my feet as if I weighed nothing. And before I could look at him fully, he was gone. Enkidu was still for a moment. Then he said, "Rise, let us go forward. The one who descended, that was the protection of Shamash himself, come in person. We will not be abandoned." When they arrived at Just, the cedar forest rose before them, an avenue of impossible height, straight and deep, where Humbaba had walked and worn his path through the trees. The cedars soared against the mountain as if competing with it. This was a sacred place, the great cedar lifting its crown above the peaks, its shade full and cool, its undergrowth thick with the smell of resin and thyme. Enkidu lifted his eyes and looked at the gate. It was massive, 6 gar high and 2 wide, made of cedar from a different age. Its stanchions, its socket, its pivot, its lock, its hinges, all of it fitted together with a craft that did not come from mortal hands. Enkidu had known this place before, had heard what lived beyond it, and now, standing before it, he was moved. He spoke to the gate, as if it could understand him, as if the wood had a soul pressed into it by the trees it had been. O gate of the forest, without understanding, without sense, I have admired your timber over 40 leagues, watching for the first cedar tall enough to reach your height. Your wood has no equal in any country. 6 gar of height, 2 of breadth. Your fittings must have been made in Nippur itself. Oh, if I had only known the full measure of your grandeur before we came to this place. I would have lifted an axe, I would have cut you and bound you myself. He stood before it with his hand against the cedar. Then he flung it open. Something happened when his hand touched the gate. He called out to the guardian of the forest, his voice loud, his challenge ringing, and then his arm went still. He felt it, a stillness spreading from his fingers up through his wrist, into his forearm, into the root of his shoulder. His body, which had broken the grip of wild bulls, had grappled with Gilgamesh himself. It would not answer him. He stood frozen at the threshold. He called to Gilgamesh, and his voice for the first time was not steady. "O friend, my hands have grown weak. My arms are stricken. Within Erech I was afraid of the combat, and now that fear has come back to me, here at the very door of it. I cannot go down into the depths of the forest." Gilgamesh opened his mouth and spoke to Enkidu. "Shall we play the coward, you and I, after everything? You are cunning in warfare, shrewd in battle. There is nothing in the field you have not mastered. You will surpass them all. Touch the weakness and fear nothing. The palsy in your arms, it will pass. The weight in your hands, it will lift. Be brave and resist it. Together we go down. Let the combat diminish nothing in you. He who walks as vanguard protects a comrade. He who knows the way guards his friend. And you are the one who knows this place. Oh, forget death. Be fearful of nothing. The man who is valiant, cautious, careful, he who leads has guarded his own body, and he will safeguard another." He stood over his friend until the words fell into him. Then they stilled their speech and stopped together. The silence of the forest was in front of them. They entered. The trees were beyond what words had told them. The cedars stood like the columns of a world older than cities, their trunks wider than a man's arm could reach, their crowns hidden in the cold mist above. The path Humbaba had made through them was straight and deep, worn smooth by something massive that moved without hesitation. They walked it. The smell of the forest was cedar, clean and enormous and slightly like blood. The shade was total, and then suddenly broken where a crown had fallen or been taken, and the light fell through in columns. Birds called overhead and stopped calling. The undergrowth spread in every direction, dark, close, still. This was the home of the immortals. This was Humbaba's place. They had walked 40 leagues through desert and scrubland to reach it. And here it was, older than the road that led to it, older than the men who walked that road, older, perhaps, than the gods who had appointed its guardian. Gilgamesh felt its silence against him like a wall. He stopped at the edge of a clearing. He saw, in some sense he could not explain, Shamash present, somewhere above in the sun, watching. He lifted his hands. "Shamash, I am on this road now. I have started. I pray to you from it. The city that was behind me, is behind me. I ask only, stay with me on what is blocked. Cut a path, cleave the mountain for my step. Shamash heard the entreaty of Gilgamesh. Out of heaven, against Humbaba, he raised up the winds. The great wind came first, then the north wind, then the south wind, then the tempest and the storm wind, then the chill wind, then the whirlwind, then the wind of all evil. 8 winds, and Shamash sent them all. They came against Humbaba from every direction at once, before and behind, so that he could not go forward and could not retreat. He turned left, and the wind drove him right. He turned to face the attack, and the wind came from behind him. His roar, which had been the sound of the forest's terror, was swallowed in the greater roar of 8 winds driving at once. He could not move. Humbaba surrendered. The giant of the forest stood at bay. His face, the mask of writhing lines that gave expression to the forest's own fury, was turned toward Gilgamesh. His voice, which had shaken the cedars, had become something else. He spoke. Gilgamesh, stay your hand. You are the stronger now. Be my master, and I will be your servant. Disregard everything I said against you, the boasting, the threats. I will make amends. I will lay myself down. I will give you what you ask, timber, palaces, whatever weight you can carry from this forest. The forest was quiet around them. The winds had fallen. Gilgamesh heard the words of Humbaba. He turned toward Enkidu. Enkidu met his eyes, and his voice was hard. Of this plea, do not accept it. Do not offer him mercy. Gilgamesh hesitated. Enkidu spoke again, and the words were final. Humbaba must not remain alive. He was set here by the gods to guard this forest, and if he lives, you will never leave it. The friend of a god is a god, but the enemy of a god is a curse that outlasts the combat. There was no more speech after that. Gilgamesh raised his axe. They cut off the head of Humbaba. The guardian of the cedar forest fell. His body settled into the roots and the undergrowth, and the great trees stood over him as they had stood over everything. Older than the king who had killed him, older than the prayer that had brought the winds, older than the road that had led to this place. The forest was theirs. Thank you for listening to Aoidos. In this episode, Tablets 4 and 5 of the Epic of Gilgamesh, The Road to the Cedar Forest, you heard the journey that few would attempt. 5 dreams on the road, each one more violent than the last. Enkidu's hand freezing at the gate of Humbaba's forest. Shamash answering with 8 winds. And at the heart of the oldest cedar grove in the world, the guardian of that place, brought to his knees, asking for mercy that did not come. In the next episode, Tablets 6 and 7, The Wrath of Ishtar, Gilgamesh returns from the forest. He is magnificent. A goddess sees him, and what she asks for, and what he says in reply, will set something in motion that neither of them can stop. If this reading moved you, the best thing you can do is subscribe to Aoidos. It is the only way to be notified when the next episode arrives. You can also leave a comment below. Tell us what you thought of the dreams, of Enkidu's fear at the gate, of the moment Humbaba asked for mercy. We read everything. This reading is adapted from R. Campbell Thompson's translation of the Epic of Gilgamesh, published in 1928 and now in the public domain. The adaptation and the narration are original works of the Aoidos channel. We will see you in the next episode.